Are there any situations where fruit may exacerbate a health crisis where fasting would not, and vice versa?
Where fruit would exacerbate it, but fasting would not. Um, yeah, sure. I mean, there are people who have severe digestive distress. Um, and, it could just be, well, there are lots of things that could be going on. But when the digestive system is in serious distress, eating anything might make symptoms much worse, might make you feel much worse. In fact, related elimination, right? So when you're looking at Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel. I mean, I had suffered from irritable bowel syndrome for 3 years, starting 31 years ago, and eliminated it 28 years ago. When I finally walked away from medicine and said, okay, I'm going to figure this out myself, and then changed my diet, and shortly after began fasting. What these people often find that, as I did, that eating anything makes them feel terrible.
Hmm.
So these are cases where eating is going to exacerbate the situation. It's going to make it worse because if you've got ulcerated tissue and you've got food moving through, even soft, wet food, it's still fiber. It's still going to have some negative impact. Imagine you ulcerated the tissue on your knee. You fell off your bike and skinned your knee. That's ulcerated tissue. If you rub it every day, it's not going to heal very well, even if you rub it gently with something wet. Okay, you're better off leaving it alone. And so when we fast these people, we're always going to do much better. And of course, this is always true. I mean, while people often say things like raw food healed me, or, a fruit-based diet is healing, that's not strictly speaking true, because the body heals itself. So no diet heals the body, ever, under any circumstances. What's true is that the better the diet is, the less of an impediment to healing that it becomes. So if we're super sick and we're eating a standard American diet, it's going to be hard to get better because we're taking toxic stuff and the body's having to work real hard all the time. If we go to a fruit-based diet, there's a much better chance the body can heal, and it often will. But it's not because the diet heals us, whereas fasting simply gives the body the optimal conditions to cleanse and heal. Are there conditions on the other side where fasting will exacerbate something that eating wouldn't? Well, in a sense, yes. There are many times where, let's see, okay, I'm working with a young man right now who is up in Vancouver, British Columbia, somewhere in southern BC. And he's got some symptoms, including serious acne, cystic acne. He's got problems urinating. He's got a bunch of things going on. And most of those symptoms are much worse today. I think we're now 8 or 9 days into his 30-day fast. That's the wrong book. Gotta find my notes. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's something like that. So it's much worse. Why? Because the symptoms were evidence that the body was trying to cleanse and heal in the first place. And when we give it the opportunity to cleanse and heal, the symptoms may get worse depending on the condition. It doesn't always happen. But there's a situation where fasting will exacerbate the symptoms. Understand, it's only happening because these symptoms are part of a healing process. And so it always winds up much better afterward than it did before.
I've read something like leaky gut. In fact, somebody in the community recently had leaky gut and went to a different fasting retreat and had a lot of problems, for various reasons, likely. But what about leaky gut? Would you recommend fasting or?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no more effective way to allow the body to heal from anything than fasting. I'd be curious to know what the whole situation was, because fasting would allow that gut to heal, given the right conditions. Now, I don't know of any other fasting centers that understand hydration the way that I do, or at least the way I think I do. And I would suggest that leaky gut is often caused primarily by dehydration. And so I would maybe be interacting with that person differently than would happen somewhere else. But, we have seen leaky gut healed over and over again here successfully.
Interesting.